Well, here I am on the road between Swakopmund, just behind me, and Walvis Bay, the two major towns on this part of the coastline, and it's an amazing road. On the one side, you've got this, the Atlantic Ocean. There's some guys fishing on the beach, a couple of kids going out there with their boogie boards. The water's freezing, so I don't envy them, and a slight mist rolling in. Some guys over there fishing on the rocks. Then you've got the road, and there you've got the desert. Literally, the Namib desert is just coming across here. Right there, got the road that goes to Walvis Bay, and then the Atlantic Ocean. Really is quite remarkable. I mean, it's a beautiful scenery. This is how a lot of this area gets its moisture, where the heat of the desert meets the cold of the Atlantic Ocean and creates this sort of fine mist. So although it looks sunny and warm, it's actually quite fresh, but quite beautiful. There's this road. Walvis Bay is a very important, well, it's the only real harbour where most imports come into Namibia. So that's we're going to see that in a little while. But from there, I'm going to turn inland and cross that desert. To go into the heart of the Namib desert, to go to Sersriem. So I'm just breathing in. This is my last view of the ocean on this trip, because from then now on I'll be going inland, into the desert, into the heat again. So I'm breathing in that lovely ocean freshness and that cool feel from the sea, listening to that lovely sound as the waves lap in. I hope we're being able to pick it up nicely. Well, goodbye Swakopmund. A little bit of beach road. Oh, a little bit of fantastic beach. Great fishing territory this. Hello desert. Driven for 90 minutes, an hour and a half from Walvis Bay, the coast, inland, crossing what is mostly a really empty area of desert. And I've come to a viewpoint which is like a little outcrop that rises up out of the ground over the plains. Here we go. There's a little lay-by where people park, some quiver trees that people are looking at, and then a view over there. So I'm just going to take a little walk up over these broken rocks, set up on that little bit, oops, on there, and hopefully get a couple of pictures looking down. Now all I've got to do is work out how to climb over this. Well, these are the quiver trees, another unique tree of Namibia. And they're called quiver trees not because they quiver at night and make a strange sound, which a lot of people think, but because the branches, which you can see up there, are hollow. And the sand people, or the bushmen that used to live here, take these branches, break them off, and put their arrows inside to make quivers with. Hence the name quiver tree. They do quiver strangely at night as well, but that's not where the name comes from. At night, all those branches, they shake at night, creating a very spooky sound. But they're a very unique tree. One of the few trees, as you can see around here, to survive in this really harsh, arid environment. Two reasons they survive the heat. One is that they are hollow, and all the branches are hollow, so that they can actually cause evaporation inside the tubes, which is why they break off and make good quiver. The other thing they've got, look closely if I can get in on the bark, their bark is in layers. I won't pull any off, be very careful there. Like an onion, which protects it from the heat and traps the moisture between all the different layers on the tree. And it has this very unique colour to help reflect the sun. You can actually feel it, it's actually quite hot. So that's the Namibian quiver tree, and you'll see them dotted in random areas around the desert, living where pretty much nothing else can. Good news, folks, I found out how to put my iPod into the car stereo. So now we got tunes. Well, I left the comfort of a hotel room in Swakopmund, drove down the coast road, turned inland at Walvis Bay, crossing some amazing countryside. I mean, some desolates, some canyons, heading towards Sersriem, and right now I'm at the Tropic of Capricorn. So across, and it's beautiful here. Oh, I know I say this about everywhere, but just Namibia has some amazingly diverse scenery. I mean, it's been scrubland and flat and sand, and then there's been canyons which have gone down and out of. No water in the canyons. And just over there, now I don't know if you can see, is these amazing looking mountains. Far, far away, I'm not sure which mountains they are. Shimmering in the afternoon heat. Really, and just down there, you can't see it, it's the canyon. That's the car, that's really not so interesting. But this is the Tropic of Capricorn! Okay, and let's get on. I've only got 1 hour to get to Sersriem and check in before they close the gate on me, because you've got to be there before the dark. So, let's get going. Well, welcome to Sersriem. Arrived in the dark, which is not ideal, especially when you're camping. It's not ideal to arrive in the dark anywhere, but especially at Sersriem because they close the gates at dark. Sersriem has got this very confusing double gate system. But what I'm going to do over the next couple of days is show you about the double gate system, how to get into Sersriem, what Sersriem is all about, how to get into the desert, how it all works. That'll be coming up tomorrow. First, tonight, I'm cooking my supper. I've already cooked my chicken on the gas stove. I'm cheating, I haven't put a fire on tonight. I arrived late not because I didn't have enough time, but because the journey, oh my goodness, was so beautiful on the way. I kept having to stop and take photographs and videos, and oh, I mean, I could have done it in half the time, but scenery was too spectacular. So arrived a little bit late, did just scrape in the gate. They let me in, thankfully. Found my campsite in the dark. Thankfully there is a light here and one power point. So I'm cooking my supper on a gas stove. I got some chicken, cooked a nice portion of chicken. Because I've cooked some for tonight and some for tomorrow for my lunch. So I can have some left over. Now I'm just cooking the pasta. So and I'm going to put some sauce in the pasta. Pasta and sauce. When that's cooked, toss the chicken in, sprinkle some cheese on top, pour a glass of wine on the side, or some juice, of course, some nice juice, and then I got a nice supper and set for the night. Because I want to have an early night, I've got to get prepared tonight, because tomorrow morning I'm getting up very early to drive into the desert to see sunrise in Sersriem.